this is Aaron, the Metal Theologian, and it's kind of been a while. I don't really have anything to talk about, so I'm just going to talk about some random shit. Like, right now we're listening to Rashid Ali, New Directions, and there's a really cool free jazz record. You know, when I first got it, a year or two ago, I didn't really think very much of it. I thought it just sounded like, you know, he was aping Coltrane, but listening to it again, it doesn't really sound like that. It really does have its own character. And, you know, it has some of that kind of sort of spiritual vibe to it going on, but it makes its own statement, and the more times I listen to it, the more I really sort of appreciate what's going on in there. But, so listen, Spencer's sick again, but he's hanging out here to try something that is kind of, I'm not sure if it's special. It's special, okay, but I'm not sure if it's good or not. And that is this sparkling spiced pumpkin cider, which I actually got at the local Aldi. And, okay, I'll be upfront. I had one of these. I couldn't decide if I liked it or not. I did finish it, but it was a weird taste. And I don't know, man. I mean, apple cider I'm good with. Other ciders and that, but I'm not so sure. Where's your glass, Book? All right, so here we're gonna go. It says 60% fruit juice, but non-alcoholic. So is that enough?
It's a lot of fruit juice for a soda.
It is. Especially given the fruits of pumpkin. Although I didn't read the ingredients.
It does not smell like pumpkin. It smells like apple. This is apple cider. Just has a pumpkin-y.
Wait till you taste it. Okay, it does have more apple than pumpkin in it.
Yeah, there you go. It looks more like apple cider, too.
Try it.
Okay.
This is the thing. I'm really curious what you think of this.
It tastes exactly. I mean, not
Your nose is so fucked up. You don't know what it smells like anyway.
Maybe you're right. It reminds
like
me of the. It reminds me of the spice cider from Trader Joe's.
The Spice Girls.
Yeah, it is spice cider. You know what I'm talking
Yeah, I
about?
know what you're talking about.
Pulpy stuff.
Has a really weird edge to it.
I'm not sure what I think of it, and it's nothing like I expected.
Yeah, I told you. Like, you can tell that at base this is an apple cider. Okay, let's just get that out of the way. But it does not taste like apple cider. It's sort of like...
I can't taste the apple at all.
Really? I can kind of tell that, like, in terms of the body and just sort of the foundation, it's apple. But it has all these spices on top of it. Like, it really has a little bit of bite, but I wouldn't call it spicy like, you know, like a Blenheim's ginger ale or something like that, you know?
I'm trying to figure out what's in there.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck is in here. Alright, it says carbonated water, apple juice from concentrate, cane sugar, ginger,
there it is. Yeah.
Lemon juice from concentrate, natural pumpkin flavor, cinnamon, and other spices. So we're getting some of that tartness from the lemon. I think I am.
I don't know if I'm getting that much tartness.
I'm totally getting
I'm just getting the ginger.
Yeah, it's weird. I was looking forward to getting Spencer's opinion on this, but with it cold, who the hell knows what he's tasting? It might taste like a fucking steak to him or something. He's like, I don't know, this kind of tastes like a bacon-wrapped hot dog.
I don't think my tastes are that much different. I know pierogies taste like pierogies.
Yeah, pierogies are pretty good. Yeah, we had a good Cleveland dinner today. We had kielbasa with pierogies and sauerkraut. It's awesome. Sour cream. Yeah. I haven't lived in Cleveland in coming on 25 years, but every once in a while, I got to impart that culture to kids. This, by the way, people always ask, so yes, I got a new rig, okay, this is called the Penguin, and I kind of like it because it doesn't, like, drip like the other ones. This is not going to turn into a fucking vape channel, believe me, okay, because I hate that shit, but I get a better hit off this thing, it's more consistent, and the other ones kind of tend to leak and drip and shit, and this one hasn't done that at all yet, and also holds a charge for a long time, so I'm pretty happy with it. Also, it wasn't really expensive, but the day I start like building fucking vape rigs and
It's
shit.
the day I
I'm
move out.
That's the day you unsubscribe. These little wet spinning, some new arrivals and shit. Here's one that I actually might put on after this, if I'm still talking, which I likely will be. This is the Byron Allen Trio record, and this is one of my few original ESPs that are like genuine ESP records. Like my Fugs and Gods records are ESPs, but as far as the jazz, I have an original Spiritual Unity, but that's all I can even think of right off. So it has this weird like sort of wraparound cover. This is a really cool record, man. It's really sort of spare. It's definitely free, you know what I mean? But it's free with a lot of space in it, which I think is largely just because you have the sax and the drums and the bass, right? So there's no there's no instrument playing chords, and I like that. I like that about the early Albert Ayler record too, Spiritual Unity, anyway. But this record just feels developed. It feels like it coheres in the way that a lot of these things don't. As opposed to sounding totally chaotic, which I also like, by the way, don't get me wrong. This thing just kind of melds into one thing that I don't know. I just dig it. Here's another one. I actually got this a little while ago. It took a few listens to really get my head around it, but this is an early Sonny Murray record. So I still spelling his name with the O instead of with the U. It's a really cool free jazz record. It does have some reading by Leroy Jones, who would become Amiri Baraka. It's probably better known under that name. You know, it's militant and comes off as a little bit dated because of that. You know what I mean? I don't have any beef with that, but that's the sort of thing that I think put really date these records more than anything going on in the actual music. But that's it. It's a really cool record. It's really listenable. Albert Ayler's on here, along with Don Cherry and Henry Grimes. So, you know, I'm down with this fucking record. It's pretty free, and yeah, I don't really know what else to say about this. Now, this one is one that it took me a few listens to get my head around, man. Once I did get my head around it, I found this to be really remarkable. Okay, I've been a little bit obsessed with the Strat East label lately. That's partially because there's some really cool reissues kicking around. I actually got this several years ago, and I kind of felt like it sounded, you know, behind the times. Okay, for a record cut in I think 74, yeah, 74. There's a Shamek Farah, First Impressions, and I thought this record kind of sounded like it belonged, you know, in the early 60s. It was just sort of anachronistic for when it was cut. That didn't really impress me. But pulling it out and listening to it a couple more times, I'm realizing that it's a free album, but where the free aspect of the jazz has been fully assimilated and is now a mode of expression that isn't so much the random shit and sort of the, you know, like the John Cage type of spontaneous performance shit, as much as the whole thing sort of coming together into a whole that's greater than the sum of its parts. This is a really remarkable record in that way, I think, because, you know, I talk about free jazz records and whether they cohere or not, and sometimes they cohere better than others, and they don't have to be cohesive for me to like them necessarily, and they can be great and make important statements without being necessarily cohesive. But this one is really, this almost feels like the pinnacle of free jazz as far as that kind of cohesion and that kind of parts fitting together. And it's not a lot of really huge names on this record either. Milton Suggs, Clay Herndon, yeah, Norman Person I've heard of, but I don't know any of these other guys. So, with some kind of no names who made a fucking outstanding record. One that, remember, took me a few listens to really get my head around, but my god, is it a great record. Here's another Strata East record I've been playing a lot. It's a reissue. These are all reissues. I don't have the original Strata East shit. But this is the John Betch Society, Earth Blossom. And this is, it's a really different vibe than that one. This one is really like lush and almost orchestrated, but it's not orchestrated in the sense of like strings and like, you know, the big horn section and that kind of shit. It just sort of gives off that vibe with the feeling and with the way it is orchestrated. I mean, there are a lot of instruments on here. You know, it's a sextet. I'm just looking. Yeah, John Betcher's the drummer. There's another one from '74, incidentally. It's interesting. In '74, there seems to have been a lot of great jazz records because '74 is a little bit late for really great rock records of this era. Like, I tend to gravitate towards 70, 71, 72 for rock as being the great years. But right now, if I'm seeing a jazz record from '74, I'm kind of jumping on it. So, anyway, yeah, this is just a really sort of full-sounding record. Lots of texture, lots of, I don't know, it just sort of flows over you like a sea of like honey or chocolate or something like that. It's just a beautiful record, man. And it's a record that'll challenge you a little bit. You know, it's not challenging like when I usually talk about challenging records, meaning like it's a difficult listen. This is a really easy listen, but it has sort of layers and layers, and you can sort of listen deeper into it. And that's the way it challenges you, as opposed to like just being a hard record to listen to. Alright, this is a weird one. At first I thought it sucked, and then I realized it's great. See you later. Spencer just took off. This is sort of a split, really. This is another one of the Finnish ones, since I was kind of on the Finnish shit for a while. And this is Nick Suomalaista Contemporary Finnish. Did I say that right? Nikki Suomalaista Contemporary Finnish. Oh, you know something? I lied. It's the Nikki Suomalaista Soul Set, okay? And the Edward Vasala Contemporary Finnish Jazz Band, okay? Now, this is basically a split record, even though it's all Edward Vasala. So there we go. You can see how I like butchered all the title and shit like that. I don't really know what the fuck this thing is called. I'll have to figure it out before I file it. The first side is really kind of not that great, like rock music. It's really kind of corny. It kind of sounds more like pop music from the era. And not like really sort of Cretinous pop or anything like that. But just like not that good, you know, and kind of crappy. But, so, you know, I played it like twice and I was like, ugh, shit, you know. I busted it out again and played the other side, alright? And the Edward Vasala Jazz Band part of it is fantastic. But it's actually great. It's really good jazz, very free for the Finnish stuff, and, you know, is really worthy of the other Edward Vasala record that I have that I showed last time. I'm putting on this other one instead right now. I'll talk about this one in a minute, but we'll get there. Hang on. Actually, I will go ahead and tease that label. Check that out. How awesome is that? All that katakana on there. Oh, fuck. Can you pause for a sec? Can you hold this for a second, please? Thank you. Coltrane's helping me out here because I took that one out without taking the other one off the turntable. And see, I didn't prepare for this video at all. It's completely disorganized. I don't know what the fuck I was going to talk about, but here we are. I've been kind of disengaged, actually. I haven't been watching a lot of videos and shit either, but I don't know. I've been listening to a lot of music, though, you know, so I feel like there's a lot to talk about. But I don't know, I'm in this sort of weird headspace, so not necessarily a bad headspace, but although I don't like this time of year. Might as well just admit that. I kind of hate fall, like with the days getting so short and everything. It just kind of fucks with my head, you know, that whole sort of, I know I'm not the only one. A lot of people have that, so. Anyway, so the other Edward Vasala record, let me bust that up. That's this one. I showed this one briefly last time. This one is also one of the freer Finnish records that I pulled out. Okay, so this one, that's funny because I bought this as a jazz record. I'm not sure where it's going to get filed yet. I suppose that makes it fusion. But this is Takashi Inomata and Sound Limited, and the album is Innocent Cannon. Check out that cover. Actually, check this out. You get this oldie off here. I'll show you the real good stuff. Actually, yeah, there you go. Look at that picture right there. That's the good shit. But yeah, it's this real kind of corny cover, but I love how it's kind of hard and rocking. I don't care what the guy's talking about. And I actually got this one recently. It's the first time I'm playing it. So I listened to a clip of it earlier. But we're kind of enjoying this together for the first time. So at the end of the video, we can all decide together what we think of Takashi Inomata. Actually, I think he's awesome. I fucking love this. Just might as well just put it out there. I just don't know if I'm going to file it in jazz or rock it. So the Japanese one, which I wish I could articulate a little more intelligently, but I didn't really know what to say about this one. I got this at the same time. This is Down by the Naked City by Freedom Unity. So the Japanese band. I really like this record, but like I said, I'm still sort of assimilating it. Now there's a fucking piece of hair in here. It's there are a lot of different sounds on this. It fits together though, like it's a unified sound, but oh man, I'm just gonna start babbling. I really don't have what to say about that one. This is a very interesting record though, so give it a listen if you can. Okay, Freedom Unity. I just need to listen to it a couple more times before I can talk about it. Been going with some kind of classic stuff. Thelonious Monk, 5x5. Really enjoying this record. Straight No Chaser is a great version on here. Yeah. Can't go wrong with Thelonious Monk. Not really. This record is one that I've had for many years, but I didn't really like because I thought Booker Little was kind of a chode. And I didn't really understand what Eric Dolphy saw in Booker Little because he made a lot of records with the guy. Yeah, Eric Dolphy kind of had some different styles. He had his freer styles and more straightforward styles. But I always felt like Booker Little was just like a really sort of bland, ordinary trumpet player. Coming back around to this, though, I can hear it. I'm like, I think I get what he's doing now, and it makes sense, and it's pretty damn cool. So it is still pretty straightforward. I mean, Booker Little is not going as far out as Eric Dolphy is, but in the way he's sort of anchoring the solo voices. And it flows from his kind of more straightforward into Eric Dolphy's kind of more outplaying and back. And the counterbalance of those two styles really gives this thing an interesting character. They made, like I said, they made a few records together. This is at the 5 spot, Volume 1. There's a Volume 2 I'd like to do too, or I'd like to grab one of these days too. There are a few of those. Alright, back on the Strata East reissues. I like that this one has an obi, even though it's not a Japanese pressing, it's a French one. So I just readjusted my feed. So this is the Descendants of Mike and Phoebe. And it's called The Spirit Speaks. And I got this one and one of the other ones I'm about to show because Andreas from Sonic Mainliner showed this stuff recently, and of course piqued my interest. So where do I go? But fucking, shopping. So this is a really interesting record. It has a bunch of different styles. It's very orchestrated, though. It's almost more like a gospel or spiritual album than a jazz record, although it has some really cool jazz parts in it. But it is... It's a lot of singing for my taste, frankly. And the singer definitely has like sort of a trained professional classical singer style. I don't know if it's quite operatic, but I would cast her in an opera if I were putting one together. So, you play things. And actually, Grace Lee Mims, the soprano on here, it's funny because I was talking about Cleveland before. I actually remember from Cleveland. She is from Alabama, apparently, like all the people in this band were, but she's kind of a fixture around in Cleveland. I think I was in some group or something where she was a featured soloist. I'd be lying if I said I knew her, but I remember like her sort of being in the orbit, you know what I mean, when I was heavily involved in music in Cleveland. Also, this is interesting. This guy right here, Bill Lee, is apparently Spike Lee's dad. So, anyway, though, it's an interesting record. I don't know if I really recommend this one, to tell you the truth. It's interesting. I like it, and I'm kind of fascinated with it. I've actually been playing it kind of a lot, because I'm kind of obsessed with it. but I don't know if it's one where I would say, yeah, this is one of those ones you need to grab and check out. Okay, and finally, I'll end with this one, another one that I blame Sonic Mainliner for, and that's Bobby Jackson, Desiree's song. This is awesome. Heavy on the Hammond, you know, definitely like a 70s sounding jazz record. Almost fusion, but it's closer to the jazz, you know what I mean? This is more like, it has its feet more firmly in the jazz camp than a lot of the stuff. Like, it's more sort of the colors in that are fusion, even the actual playing or composition. But this is just a wonderful record, man. It's interesting. Piano, a lot of that's electric piano. Yeah, and once again, I don't really know who most of these guys are. But this is from 78, so not 74. But very good record. I strongly recommend you at least listen to this one. So, I think I will leave it there. What's Takashi doing now? I don't know, I love this record. I still don't know where to put it though. Anyway, thanks for watching. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that. Till next time.